This chapter directly continues from the previous chapter. Please ensure you follow the web series chronologically. All the links will be provided in the description below. Thank you.
The House of Kuru, Part 1, Chapter 19. Pandu the Conqueror. As soon as the merriment of the coronation was over, Bhishma, Satyavati and Ambalika began looking for a bride for the great bowman, the Yuvaraja of the throne of Hastinapura. No kingdom is complete without a queen, and therefore the hasty search commenced. Fortunately, the land was not short of beautiful damsels who were princesses. Hundreds upon hundreds of horoscopes arrived at the palace doors for Bhishma and his astrologers to examine. No king would be matched without a strong compatibility on the horoscope. It was at this time Shakuni approached Pandu, secretly of course, and told the king to be about the goings-on in the palace. "O Pandu, did you hear Grandfather Bhishma is desperately seeking your betrothal?" said Shakuni. Pandu blushed lightly, and the paleness of his skin showed this as his face went from a wheatish complexion to a cherry red. "Well, I'm sure Grandfather Bhishma has the best interests of both me and the kingdom at heart," mumbled Pandu, through the thick blush of his cheeks. "Pandu, Pandu, Pandu," advised Shakuni. "My good friend, you do not seem to know the difference between a married man and a stud. You are the best bowman to have walked the land. Even Bhishma praises your capacity with the bow. What do you suppose will happen after your marriage?" Shakuni asked. "Well, I will be formally a king and commence my duties as a king," Pandu mumbled. "Yes, that you will, but your might on the bow will never be exhibited. You will be a beautiful mascot with your wife, the queen. Nothing more," said the shrewd Shakuni. "The glory of a king is in war," advised Shakuni. "We will never be attacked. We have no threat. No kingdom would dare even think about war with Hastinapura, with Grandfather Bhishma on the prowl," said Pandu. "Yes, exactly. Grandfather Bhishma prowling like the grand old lion, forgetting its age," mocked Shakuni. "He will remain as guardian, and no king will dare wage war against Hastinapura, and you will live a long, boring life with a queen in the palace walls, never to take that bow out for anything but hunting a deer or two. Is this what you want?" asked Shakuni. Pandu did not know what to say. It's such a shame to have a beautiful garment just to store it in the wardrobe for eternity. Such capacity should be shown to the world, Pandu. And your prowess with the bow needs to be shown to the world, said the cunning Shakuni. Perhaps you're right. What do you suggest? Asked Pandu. The land of Hastinapura has tight borders. Perhaps an expansion is needed, asked Shakuni. Pandu, all great kings prove their worth on the battlefield, and a conquest is your way to do so. You need to perform a Dig-Vijaya. A Dig-Vijaya is a conquest of all the lands within the immediate regions of the empire. It will consolidate your rule and prove to the empire you are worth the praises heaped upon you. Trust me, O king, this is the best course of action for you, your future wife, your children and your grandchildren will hear tales of your Dig-Vijaya. You will be a man mentioned in the tales and histories of Hastinapura. Take my word, if you fail to do this, your rule will end with a little meaning to it, said the sly Shakuni. This got Pandu thinking. What is the use of being the best bowman without an opportunity to prove it? The people, the masses, the subjects of his empire must not think he is just another entitled prince. Perhaps you have a point, Shakuni, he said softly. Shakuni's face lit up like a well-oiled torch. I will speak with Grandfather Bhishma tomorrow. No, one must not wait. This is a great challenge. You must inform Bhishma now, said Shakuni. But perhaps Grandfather Bhishma is busy with horoscopes, mumbled Pandu. Exactly why you must convince him immediately. If he finds a match, he will not allow your campaign, said Shakuni. All right. I will depart to his chamber this very minute. Now remember, Pandu, said Shakuni, pointing his index finger to him. Bhishma will refuse at first. Then he will insist on coming with you, but you must not allow any of this. If he comes with you, he will cater to all the nearby tribes, and your glory will not even be spoken of. Remember, this is for the noble house of Kuru, and your glory, said Shakuni. Pandu nodded and made his way past the throne room and into the armory, where Bhishma was brandishing and polishing his scimitar. The sight of Pandu brought joy and happiness to Bhishma. He beamed with pride and said, Come here, my king. How may I serve you? He asked. Grandfather, I will be your servant, and the servant of the house of Kuru before anyone serves me, said Pandu, as he gently touched the feet of his grandsire. Swelling with pride, Bhishma was further convinced he had picked the right candidate for the throne. Ah, my child, your valor is shadowed only by the might of your bow, said Bhishma. Grandfather, your words of praise are, though true, not proven, said Pandu. Bhishma was taken aback. He had not expected this from Pandu. It was an unusual behavior for him. What do you mean, my child? Asked the grandfather. See, Grandfather Bhishma, you, along with all the others in the palace, and soon my subjects, see me as a child. How will I prove my worth to the people? Asked Pandu. Perhaps you're right. How do you intend to prove your worth, Pandu? Perhaps a hunting contest? Bhishma chose his words carefully now. There was clearly something wrong with Pandu. Someone had gotten to him. Our borders are tight. Vandals have sacked villages on the edges of the empire. You are aware of this. Kings in the vicinity are of the opinion you have aged too much since your great battle with the warrior monk Parashurama. It is time, O mighty grandsire, that I, Pandu, commence a great conquest and expand the borders, slay the Vandals, and instill fear in our enemies. I will perform a Dig-Vijaya, yelled Pandu. Bhishma went silent. He thought this through. He could negate Pandu, but Pandu did make some very good points. My son, the house of Kuru lost a scion to a Gandharva just a generation ago, in war. Let us establish the house first, implored Bhishma, but Pandu was not having it. Grandsire, the three worlds, heaven, hell, and earth, tremble by the mere mention of your name. You have basked in glory upon glory. It is but natural for a warrior to seek glory. The people of the land will value my words. You have mentioned the might of my ability with the bow. Then why do you hesitate? Asked Pandu. Bhishma could see that he was certainly under a trance. Yet what he said was true. Pandu was gifted with the knowledge of the bow. He could perform a Dig-Vijaya. It will also consolidate him as the ruler with great fear instilled upon the enemies of the Lion Throne. It would also mean that he can finally leave the kingdom in his hands, especially since he has proven his might on the battlefield. After a long pause, Bhishma clapped his hands together and said, All right, I submit. If you wish to pursue a conquest, then so be it, said Bhishma, and Pandu beamed with joy. Pandu's Dig-Vijaya was announced the very next day in the palace council meeting. Ambalika gasped, Satyavati protested, and Vidura instantly looked at Shakuni. But with Bhishma's support, everyone quietened down. I will personally be joining Pandu, said Bhishma, much to both Shakuni and Pandu's discomfort. Grandfather, this is a personal challenge of mine. Let it be my achievement and not yours, protested Pandu. As the guardian of Hastinapura, it is my duty to protect the king, said Bhishma. Your Majesty, if I may, interjected Shakuni. What is it, Shakuni? Scoffed Bhishma. The Yuvaraja wishes to brandish his talent. Both you and I are confident in his capacity over the bow. And let us not forget, with the Yuvaraja gone in conquest, there is no one here to protect the throne. We need you here, grandsire. Your duty is to protect Hastinapura and its people as well, said Shakuni. I am well aware of my duties, Shakuni, but the king's protection is my foremost duty, snapped Bhishma, as he cut off Shakuni's protests. But Shakuni did not waver. Perhaps, but let us not insult Pandu's ability by sending a doting grandfather behind him, said Shakuni. And this was enough to get Pandu out of his lion throne. I do not need a guardian, dear grandfather. Shakuni is right. Your place is here protecting Hastinapura, said Pandu with a slightly sterner tone. Finally, Bhishma nodded slowly. After all, he was speaking with the crown prince of Hastinapura. It is agreed then, bellowed Shakuni, when Bhishma, Dhritarashtra, Pandu, and Kripa all looked at Shakuni with shock. Shakuni bowed low, apologized profusely for speaking out of turn, and sank back to his seat. Dhritarashtra was furious. I thought you were on my side, Shakuni, he exclaimed. You know well, when Pandu returns from the conquest, he will be more famous and accepted by the people. He will be praised and complained Dhritarashtra. If, your majesty. Not when, but if, interrupted Shakuni. Your Majesty, do not forget, a Dig-Vijaya is a tremendous conquest. It is a huge undertaking. The king will have only a few foot soldiers, and he is going to wage a war with the tribes of Magadha, Trikarta, Anga, and Sindhu. Are you certain of his victory? Sneered Shakuni. Dhritarashtra fell silent. He did love his brother Pandu, but he loved the lion throne even more. He decided on maintaining his silence. With a soft nod, he left for the inner chambers.
I hope you liked today's episode of The House of Kuru. If you have not already, please subscribe to this channel and like this video so that you will be notified every time a new video is uploaded. Thank you.